And we are going live. Hopefully the audio checks out. Everything looks good. For those that are joining on a playback, this is definitely the time where we check the audio, make sure everything's coming in loud and clear, making sure that everybody can see everything perfectly, that there's no delay, and that I can pull it up and actually do a monitor and see exactly what's going on. So being that no one is really anticipating that I'm jumping in here for a live stream, let's give it a little bit and see who we can get to bounce in. Checking out the just to mess around a little bit with the different timing, different time slots here, and see what kind of crowd we can attract on a 7 p.m. at 7 p.m. So let me actually, I'm trying to get to the go into the creator studio so I can actually pop out the chat window and get a good gauge of what's going on in the chat, so I don't have to look down at my phone as people bounce in. So let's see what we've got here. I know it's a little bit early on the West Coast, tuning in at 4 p.m. So hopefully everybody is in a good spot. 7 p.m. on the East Coast, 8 a.m. over in Australia, 10.5 hours ahead over in India. Europe, actually, it's coming in on midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. So hopefully we can attract a few different people in here. So let's see what we've got. All right, I'm getting getting a ton of text messages as I'm trying to start out here. So looks like the stream is actually pretty decent. Let's see what we got here. Stream health is nice, and no, we're pretty solid. So let me see. Pop out the chat. There we go. That's what I was trying to do. All right, for those that are bouncing in right now, I know this is a little out of the ordinary, streaming at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, 4 p.m. Pacific time. What's up, XRP Carolina? Glad to see you on. I know I'm taking everyone a little bit by surprise with a early evening stream. Wanted to reach out, and a lot of great things to talk about. So Danny Johnson, XRP is on its way to being sold out. We're not that far away. G-Money XRP, what's going on? Good to see you on. All right, let me see. I don't want to lose this cable. Almost tossed my charging cable away. So, all right, great. Let's see what we've got. Let's get some people to join in. We'll give everyone another minute. A lot of things to talk about. A lot of great topics. Carl Lewis, good to see you on. And there goes my cable. So, different time slot. Normally streaming later in the evening. Normally I come on 10 p.m. trying to do an earlier stream. Rodney, good to see you on. Glad you're able to join in. We've got a lot of great things that I wanted to cover today. So hopefully we can get started here right away. So hey, Moneybags, how's it going? Anything that you guys want to bring up specifically, let me know. There are definitely some developments in the space. Giancarlo, Commissioner SEC, was stepping down and is actually being replaced by somebody new. And the question with that is whether or not he is going to be crypto friendly or crypto averse. And so far it looks like looks like he's definitely on board with 21st century technologies and really looking to develop the space that is blockchain and digital asset. So the USC coin. So that's see here. Oh, you guys are driving. All right. Yeah, let's get into. Let me pull that up. Hang on. All right, let me. I'm gonna sideline the USC coin because that's definitely connected to something else that I wanted to cover. So anyhow, in a matter of timing and everything else, let me get into some of the topics at hand that I wanted to cover. Didn't mean to sideline the USC coin, but I do want to tie that into something else. So glad you brought it up, but I don't want to get engaged fully into discussing exactly where that's going to play in. So anyhow, a number of topics. One thing that I wanted to start with, being that everyone's kind of starting to roll in at this point. Rico, what's going on? Justin Sun. You got to go with Justin Sun. Let's go with Justin Sun. Anyhow, so there's a number of new technologies that are being developed, and it's interesting because I was talking to Chip from the XRP Minute the other day, and we are looking at technologies that obviously are developed to solve an issue, and there's others that are developed and designed to solve an issue that doesn't really exist, or they're trying to attempt to create an issue. And so one of the technology, it's interesting. So as this all came up, Notorious XRP the Standard, what's up? Glad to see you guys join in. Okay. So one of these technologies that I found, and I thought it was really interesting. So we've seen a lot about being able to take multiple credit cards and putting them on one credit card, and having access to an assortment of credit cards on just one, and you only have to carry the one credit card. To me, that doesn't really solve an issue. I guess the issue, if you have too many credit cards in your wallet, maybe you shouldn't carry all those credit cards. Typically, you might have an American Express, a Visa, a MasterCard. You might have multiple American Expresses. You might have a personal business, so what have you. But the point being, if you can take 3, 4, or 5 credit cards, you can easily put those in a wallet. Do you really need to take those 3, 4, 5 credit cards and minimize them down into one individual credit card? And so this is one of these fintech companies that's actually trying to solve a problem that, in my opinion, doesn't really exist. And again, we've been seeing this kind of moving, over time in this direction. Richter, what's up? Now, if you take a credit card, as we've seen develop, and you can put fiat currencies on it. If you could put US dollars, you can put euro, you can put yen, you can put multiple different digital assets, so on your one credit card, and you have the option to then select, well, I want to pay in XRP, I want to pay in Litecoin, I want to pay with my Visa, I want to pay with my Amex, I want to pay with dollars, I want to pay with euro. Then it almost starts making sense. One of the things that I definitely see an issue with when traveling are international surcharges that get applied, whether you're taking money out of an account, or many times when you're using a credit card, you get dinged with surcharges, international fees, as though if you're using an Amex, somehow that's going to differentiate, when they swipe the card, that they can't just charge you directly in pounds, but it's that conversion that they're dinging you on. So having access to a credit card that has an immediate exchange on it, so I can travel utilizing a blockchain solution, using a digital asset. Let's say if the basis of your credit card was utilizing XRP, the XRP ledger, XRP technologies, to where you would have an immediate exchange, that would make sense. To where you could get rid of these international charges. What doesn't make sense, and I'm trying to figure out how there could be a solution here as to why I would really want to carry the one credit card. Now you lose that one credit card and you lose access to all of your credit cards. So you're better off if you accidentally leave a credit card behind at the restaurant, you're basically screwed because now access to all your credit cards is in that one credit card. So to me, that doesn't really solve a problem. It creates more of a problem in terms of what this one company was creating. I just thought I'd bring it up because we're seeing those types of developments. We saw the same type of thing happen in the early 90s where companies popped up. They were trying to solve a problem. The problems that they were solving might have been in concept only. They didn't really have a product attached to it. And the problems they were trying to solve didn't really exist. And the reason why I bring all this up is because I think it's interesting. Hey, Spanish Fly, how you doing? Glad to see you on. Thanks for joining in on a 7 p.m. East Coast time, 4 p.m. Pacific time, and whatever time it is overseas at this point. Gaming Crypto, glad you're on. So the reason why I bring this up is because one of the main critiques in this space when we're talking about digital assets is that digital assets aren't solving a problem, that they're attempting to solve a problem that doesn't exist. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So I wanted to highlight, here's an example of this company Curve that in fact does seem to solve a problem that doesn't exist, or they're trying to find this problem or create a problem, almost like an infomercial on TV. Oh, I've got too many credit cards and I'm fumbling around with my credit cards and they're falling all over the place. But on the other side of it is the real issue, which when we look at money transfers, we look at global cross-border payments. If you look at the issue when you're traveling and you need to take money out of an ATM, and you're going to get dinged with high charges because of the exchange rate, or if you're using your credit card, you're getting dinged with high rates. That's a real problem. And again, this focus and this false notion that somehow digital assets aren't solving a problem in general, and the blockchain technology hasn't been invented to solve a problem or isn't being applied to solve problems is completely inaccurate. And so that's the one area, and this comes back to a conversation I had again yesterday with this statement that that the whole crypto space is fake and fictitious and it's going to go away, and Bitcoin is fictitious and XRP is fictitious, until I start explaining the use case. And I say, if you focus in on the utility, if you focus in on those companies that are actually developing something that's functional, developing something that has an actual use case, then your eyes begin to open. And that's exactly what happened in this conversation I had yesterday. The eyes began to open, especially as we began to focus in on, here's the use case of Ripple, here's the use case of RippleNet, here's the problem when it comes to wire transfer. And the people I was with yesterday were in business, and we've done business together, and they very well know, being that they came from overseas, they very well know the difficulty it is of receiving payments from the US and sending payments to the US, sending product cross shipment. And it's interesting because Rob Cash had posted an article and it asked a question regarding escrow and whether or not an escrow is needed in this transfer of payment, and whether or not the XRP ledger or XRP or XRapid could actually solve the liquidity aspect, and whether or not escrow would still be required in this process. And in fact, there's multiple aspects of international trade to where we're seeing an actual problem being resolved through digital asset and through blockchain technology. And one component of that, as we already know, is cross-border payment, simplifying the cross-border payment process, making it more transparent, as we know, making it a heck of a lot faster, and making it a heck of a lot cheaper. The other component is that you need to have trust between all parties that are in business. And I've discussed this on a previous stream or video when it comes to escrow. Now, many times businesses, whether they're going into business with each other for the first time, or if it's an easier way, because in many countries it's difficult for them to move money. And so utilizing what's called a letter of credit becomes a standard of doing business. And as part of the letter of credit, money is transferred into a third-party bank entity, which then escrows those funds until certain metrics occur. So one of the metrics that have to occur is the release of the product. But before you release the product, every aspect of that letter of credit, to the detail of your equipment, to the detail of how you're paying, to the detail of how fast you're going to pay, to the detail of what kind of ship the product is going on, to the detail of what kind of crate the product is shipped in. There's all these variables that have to go into a letter of credit. And now the problem with that is that when you fill out the letter of credit form, you have to submit it. The other side might make a mistake or might misread something you wrote, or you might have inadvertently checked the wrong box, and it creates a major issue. Now, blockchain and digital asset can resolve and solve a major issue when it comes to letter of credit, because you can automate much of that process. You can simplify much of that process from the point that, here's exactly what you need to fill out. You fill it out. It automatically is now put into this blockchain environment where party B then sees exactly what you entered and can tell you whether or not it's accurate or inaccurate, or, through AI or through an automated process, it can tell you immediately that you filled out the wrong information. Now, when the products are shipped, then certain criteria are met, and as soon as that criteria is met, all parties are identified. Now, in the current system, when product is shipped, nobody is really notified, and you have to follow up. The shipper has to notify this, so there's all this different criteria that gets checked off the list one by one, but there's no transparency and there's no immediate notification that certain things have happened during that process. Now, you have party B who's buying, and they've now sent let's say their $100,000, and it's now tied up in an escrow someplace, sitting in a third-party entity between these two banks, the two parties that are trading, A and B. So you have Bank A and Bank B as part of this process. You have the third that's holding the escrow. Now, as the process then moves across, you got your ducks in order. That's awesome. So the ducks over, so they'd be over here. Let me see if I got it right. This is my right hand. I'm looking at my own video. That's mainstream. The mainstream is following the early adopters. I didn't get to put the text up, I realize, on the duck, who's the early investor. So now you have this whole real world utility and movement that can be applied to blockchain. You can have full movement that is going to be applied through the digital asset. Now, part of the XRP ledger is the escrow component. So you can have an escrow, and you can put certain criteria within the escrow to allow that escrow to release when certain things happen, almost like an if-then statement. You can have partial payment from that escrow. You can put multiple escrows. As certain things happen, then certain amounts of money will be released. So, for instance, I ship the product, it gets loaded up on the ship, or it gets picked up by the shipper. A deposit gets released from the letter of credit. It gets put on the ship, a deposit gets released from the letter of credit. The product gets to the port on the other side of the ocean, more money gets released from the escrow. Then it goes through customs, the other party signs off on it, the full amount of money gets transferred, and it's all within transparency, so everybody knows exactly what's happening. That's a real solution to a real problem that exists today, not just within the logistics of trying to track each individual package as it goes, but the entire environment, the full environment, is completely upside down and backwards. So the first segment of what RippleNet is accomplishing and achieving, obviously on the payment side, payments are big. And I talked about this yesterday. The next layer is going to be involved in the trade aspect, which is going to be in shipping and logistics and supply, a lot in the supply chain management as well. Ducks in a row. You got to get all your ducks in a row. And once all your ducks are in a, let me just put this pen down. Once all your ducks are in a row, then we're in good shape. So everybody get their ducks in a row. Let that be a good lesson to us. picture from yesterday, 18 ducks in that picture. You can't see them because I'm kind of standing a little bit or sitting in front of some of these ducks. But of those 18, I guarantee there'll be by the weekend there'll probably be about 9, and then by next week there'll probably be 6 or 5 that'll be walking around. All right, so now, Farshad, thank you very much, man. Appreciate that. So let's see here. All right, now as we really start thinking about, okay, real world utility, man. Gators love ducks. Snakes love ducks. Some of these big lizards over here, they seem to love the duck eggs. The cats love ducks. The hawks love ducks. There's so many animals in this area that chow down on these ducks, whether they're in egg form or as they're walking around. And many times the mothers, they leave their eggs and they come back, and half of them are eaten. All right, now what's interesting, there, as we look into this real world utility, I want to look more also into real world adoption and really identifying how many organizations and companies are rapidly moving into this space. So XRP Angel, Connie, what's up? Glad to see you on. Glad you're on tonight. Omar, what's up, man? Glad to see you. Peking duck. Yeah, I had my suspicions about one of our neighbors because they always seem to be out feeding the ducks. And then I was out one day and I looked around and said, you know what? We don't have any more ducks. We had a swan. We have these strange blackbirds with these really long necks that swim around and eat fish. Then we have these really tall birds. I don't know the names of any of these birds. We have parrots. We have all these birds, but the ducks, we used to have hordes of ducks. And now obviously here's another generation of ducks behind me here that are getting born. But a lot of the ducks disappeared. So now I guess they're coming back, trying to regenerate the cycle. Now that that neighbor is gone, maybe the ducks will come back. I don't know. So the Affleck duck, yeah, that I believe he lives a couple doors down. The Affleck duck. No flamingos here though. Absolutely none. No, these tall birds are I don't know what they are, but they're not flamingos. They got these long beaks. Ducks. Man, they're tall. Have you ever seen a duck that's this tall? I've never seen a tall duck. So, yo, what's up, Z-Bits? Glad to see you on. So what we're seeing right now, and yesterday I talked a little bit about definitely snakes. There's snakes in the back too. So, and snapping turtle. The other day I came out of the house and there was a snapping turtle sitting in front of my door, about this big around. And one day it was funny. I went outside. One day I went out on the patio, went outside, and there was a snake on the patio. I'm like, how the heck did the snake get in on the patio? So grabbed the snake, tossed the snake out. Next day went out to the patio. There was a turtle on the patio walking around. Grabbed the turtle, threw him out. The next day there was this massive frog on the patio. Then I had to kick him out too. But they all find their ways in. And now we got these really bizarre lizards. They're not really iguanas. But they have this kind of a shiny skin, kind of a smoothish skin, but it's kind of green, little scaly. Then they run on 2 legs. It's really, really bizarre. So, but we've got all these crazy things here in the backyard. Kind of insane. Yeah, Australia got the boxing kangaroos. I don't know how safe that would be. I think I'm more afraid of the boxing kangaroos than the snakes and the snapping turtles. So the reptiles, and you got to stay well armed over the reptiles. So Farshad, man, thanks for that again. So so as we're seeing this space develop, yesterday I talked about the top 10 companies from last year that were really identifying getting into blockchain, but more and more we're seeing big name companies. And if you go back and you dig through my archive of videos, I'm sure you'll find a video that I made on Walmart. Walmart has done some really crazy things. They have some really crazy patents. They're issuing a lot of patents in healthcare. One of the scariest patents that I saw that they had issued had to do with holding your data, but it was your data would be on an RFID chip that's implanted somewhere in your body. It could be on a wristband or implanted, and they had two patents. One patent had to do with if you're in an accident at the scene unresponsive, the emergency crew would take your stats, come up with whatever their conclusion was, and then put this RFID. It was all based on blockchain, so it's a blockchain-based healthcare technology. So your data, all your health records. So the other part of their patent was putting all of your health records and really injecting this somewhere in your body where all your records went with you no matter where. So if you were ever in an unresponsive state, then they would actually, the emergency crew and the ER crew would have access to your data that would now be on a chip. So on a chip, hear that, chip? You put your data on a chip. So, but that's Walmart for you. So now Walmart has taken another step forward into the blockchain space. And I think it's interesting because we have multiple organizations that are getting into blockchain. We obviously have on a chip. We have Facebook that's really moving, I think, at a faster and faster pace towards digital asset adoption. The question is whether or not the users, the 2 whatever billion users of Facebook, what percentage of them, even if 1% decides to adopt digital asset, the Facebook digital asset, that's going to be a fairly large user base immediately. And so really what we're going to have to watch, because very soon Facebook will be rolling out this global coin, and when they roll out this global coin, again, we're going to have to see exactly how it gets adopted, exactly who adopts it, and the fact that they have multiple platforms in which you can engage and use it. So the question is whether or not they're going to limit it to Facebook, or are they going to open up access through Instagram, through Messenger, through WhatsApp. Now, what Facebook, as many other organizations, are identifying as they begin to switch industry is that their industry is in jeopardy, and it's not a long-term strategy to stay pigeonholed into that one industry. So, for instance, like Walmart identifying that blockchain and digital asset and technology in that space, especially in healthcare, is something important. And so you see Walmart dabbling in that space. Facebook, really identifying they have all these, and we talked about Facebook before, but they have billions of customers globally. It's not just, in one area, whereas Walmart, their clientele is only where Walmarts are, or, when they file these patents, it's going to be more hyper focused in the United States. Whereas Facebook has an opportunity with a global reach, which is extremely impressive, regardless of what we feel, if it's going to be a centralized digital currency, whether it's going to be a proper cryptocurrency or a proper digital asset. It's going to be digital in nature. It's going to bring attention from the mainstream to the space, whether they can pull it off or not, whether people have an appetite for a Facebook coin or not is, we'll see when it happens. The point being is that it's going to happen now, and it's coming at a faster and faster clip. So that is, where we're at with Facebook. Now, again, if we focus in and we say, okay, so what's Walmart doing? What's Walmart up to? And what does Pfizer? I realize I spelled Pfizer wrong on the on my thumbnail, but anyhow, whatever. So Walmart and Pfizer are joining in with a project. Now, this appeared on Cointelegraph, and then I dug into the actual pharmaceutical project that they joined in with. Now you want to ask, why is Walmart joining in on a blockchain pharmaceutical project called MediLedger? So the project is called MediLedger, and Walmart is now expanding and joining this pharmaceutical consortium. So this was reported by CoinDesk on June 3rd that this consortium, MediLedger, again, a blockchain pharmaceutical powered, a blockchain powered pharmaceutical consortium is what this is. And so what's important about blockchain with pharmaceuticals? Obviously, being able to track the pharmaceutical production. There's so many variabilities within pharmaceuticals, outcome tracking, deaths, reaction, actual outcome. Too many of the pharmaceuticals, they track outcome, but they're not really outcomes based on, I don't want to say unsolicited, but unbiased. So the outcomes aren't necessarily unbiased. And so obviously when we watch, when you're watching TV and you have these commercials come up on pharmaceuticals, many of the pharmaceuticals, they put, well, I would say a vast majority of pharmaceuticals put Band-Aids on the problem because we're more of a Band-Aid healthcare society. We're not into, well, we're changing, but for the most part, in traditional medicine, we're more into Band-Aid medicine versus actual focus on healing and getting better and digging into the root cause. So it's important to now have some transparency into the pharmaceutical research process. So, the FDA, obviously, they are really beholden to the pharmaceutical industry at large. And it's interesting to see a consortium of pharmaceutical companies joining really to open up this tracking methodology. And it'll be interesting to see if they are going to allow full transparency with what happens, and whether or not they're going to allow this to tap in to the research side of it, because many of the organizations that are digging into the healthcare space are hyper focused on the payment aspect. They care more about how do they get paid than how do they actually provide true outcome. And so here we have Pfizer along with McKesson Corp, AmerisourceBergen Corp, and Premier announced that they joined MediLedger project, contracting and chargebacks working group, whatever. So let me open up. Hang on. Let me dig down a little bit further here. Okay, forget that one. Let me open up the MediLedger. So MediLedger is interesting, in terms of their overall vision. So their vision here, it says here, the benefit of blockchain lives in its function by bringing together companies, and this is from the MediLedger website, by bringing together companies drawing the same standards to execute their business process. Blockchain makes non-competitive business functionality easier and more efficient, so companies can focus their resources on their core mission. Now they say we have a vision of a blockchain with strong cross-industry functionality for partnerships, fueled by an advanced network and tools where all partners adhere to set standards. So that's obviously important, having set standards, processing. The big one for me, if they're really going to implement anything of benefit to the people, is going to be outcome tracking. It's going to be, what can they do to make pharmaceuticals safer? What can they do to track, again, not just positive patient outcome, but negative patient outcome? What can we see in terms of transparency when it comes to the actual research that's gone behind it, and then, you can take it a step further because really we should also then see, where, which entities, what other corporations are actually owned by these pharmaceutical industries, and track the money and see where the money is going, because there's a lot more involved in it overall when we're looking at what's up in this industry, and how how they really are impacting healing and health, and that to me is really everything. And so whether or not this consortium is about that or not, but I find it interesting that we are seeing them at least moving in that direction. So it's just a matter of time. So hang on. All right, let me back up here. Let's see, Zbits. Can you give me your opinion on my comment and Wild Stars? I completely missed your comment and Wild Stars. Hang on. I was on a tangent here. caps. Man, those are big caps. All right. Omar, Big Pharma isn't gonna like that. Oh man, how did I miss all these crypto bird dog? What's up? Glad you made it in. Glad to see you in the stream. Man, really awesome. I'm looking forward to your next video that you put out. I watched your video earlier, so let me see here. Walmart. Oh, here we go. WildStar. All right, Walmart trying to get the laws changed here in Oklahoma so they could put clinics in their stores. Yep. So that's interesting. You know, it's not unique. It's definitely not unique. CVS has the Minute clinics. Target also has clinics in their stores. So it's not unique that Walmart wants to add clinics to their stores either. These clinics are more along the line of urgent cares, so they're not, you know, full-blown medical clinics. They're offering the basics of screening. So it's actually, in my opinion, it's a positive. They should be most likely cash-based versus insurance-based because it is an urgent care environment, and you're also potentially reaching out to individuals that might otherwise not have insurance and need to go through basic screening, whether it's vision, whether it's a basic health checkup, it could be an EKG, it could be, you know, some real basic screenings that could be done. And that's really the ideal place to do it, is in a store where, again, you can offer the very basics that a majority of people in the public, you know, they don't know their basic stats. And so it's very important to have an outreach into the community focused really on the trend of being healthy, you know. So I think that is also going to be very important. Now, Zbits. So you had a comment too that came up, must have been before that. Let me see. Medici Ventures. I know that name, and I should know who that is, and I'm drawing a blank right now on Medici Ventures. I'm gonna have to think about that for a second. Maybe you can just throw in something to jog my memory. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to search my Google memory and just to jog it. Sorry about that, but yeah, if you want to throw something in real quick and jog my memory on that, that'll help. Gosh, man, this is moving. Oracle, hang on. All right, Oracle has been around for a long time, big player in software game, and now in block. That another one, Oracle. And Oracle actually was there's some articles that came out where they're speaking out against digital asset and blockchain. Big Pharma would be against anything. I don't know, man. Big Jacob's Ladder, Big Pharma, they're the ones that are backing this consortium. So this MediLedger is a consortium of pharmaceutical companies, but again, I don't think it has to do with outcome tracking. I think their concept is more on the payment side and the processes, making sure everyone's following a similar process, which isn't you know, necessarily negative. However, I would rather see the outcome tracking versus just the process. The process is important as well to make sure that all pharmaceutical companies are following specific guidelines. Now, if you're going to apply FDA standard, then we'd also want to make sure that even that process is a bit automated, so everything is very transparent. If you're going to be doing that kind of research, it's going to be reflected by the FDA. Obviously, a lot of the research that's done has to be done behind closed doors. You can't release that kind of information until you have outcome and result. But as soon as you publish that study then does become public knowledge. And really that's where you want to have that, all your data should be then on the blockchain so that your data isn't susceptible to being manipulated. And in some instances, unfortunately, the data can be altered and if you look at the way the patient tracking goes or the patient outcome tracking goes, sometimes it's just anecdotal, you know, where they're, you know, asking the patient a series of questions. Sometimes those questions can give you accurate information. Sometimes it can't, you know, but then they're also not necessarily documenting all of the negative impact that comes from the pharmaceuticals. And if we look at some of the pharmaceuticals out there, like steroid-based medication, they don't tell you about the impact to bone health, to muscle regeneration. So you think about every time you get a steroid injection. If you have pain somewhere, you go to the doctor. The doctor's first, go-to product is a steroid-based injection to numb the pain. The more steroid injections you get, the more your muscle degenerates, and the more your muscle degenerates, the more the bone in that area degenerates as well. So it's actually, steroid injections are probably one of the most harmful things that can be done. And so it's very important to look at some of the alternative means of healing, and there's a lot out there. Unfortunately, much of it is not going to be covered by insurance. It's a cash-based procedure, but they're cash-based procedures that actually work. So, and I don't know, I'm going to talk, Chip, this is going to become, last night was crypto car talk, and tonight's going to be crypto medical talk, I think. We'll go from crypto to blockchain to banking to what did we talk about in the beginning? We're talking about letters of credit with trade, cross-border payments. Last night we talked about cars and the automotive industry. Today we'll talk about the medical industry, and then we'll go on and on. We'll talk about the pharmaceutical industry and who knows what else. So, all right, here we go. Let's see. In a second. They like to hide outcomes if it's not favorable. That's right. That does happen. That does happen. Dr. Holt. Yeah. That's funny. I don't know if I want a smart handling. A smart handling my HIPAA info. They can't even ring up my order right. The problem is, the HIPAA requirements now for your data. You think about, you're signing all these HIPAA forms, but who's managing your data? It's the doctors and the hospitals, doctor offices. The data at a doctor's office is definitely susceptible to other people seeing it. They're definitely held accountable if it ever came out that medical data was released in any way, shape, or form. However, it happens all the time that other people are seeing data, whether it's a mistake or whatever it might be. What's up, XRP Bananas? Glad to see you on, man. All the way from Dublin, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. So, anyhow, where was I before I went into this spiral here about the MediLedger? All right, there was something else I wanted to look at on the MediLedger. It was just Pfizer and others join working group to use blockchain protocol for supply chain. That's where supply chain management. That's what they really care about, is the movement of product. Now that's also really important. You definitely want to be able to track the movement of product. You want to know where the product is. You want to know when that product expires. You want to know, and it's interesting because there's organizations out there. There's this one organization I visited one time in Detroit area, and it was unbelievable. It was like a 5 or 6 story building, all based on medical donations. So they had a donation pile. People could donate their medicine, pacemakers. When someone died, they would get pacemakers. Whatever you can imagine, they donated, sanitized. They had one floor, an entire floor of this building dedicated to pharmaceuticals. People in there sorting pharmaceutical medication. Now the thing is, there's an expiration date on pharmaceuticals, but those at that expiration date means that at that point, the pharmaceutical company can no longer guarantee whether or not the dosage isn't degenerating from what they say it is. Not that it's going to become harmful to the person. They just can't guarantee that the medication is going to be at the same strength that they're promising it to be. So they put an expiration date on it. Now those expiration dates and those medicines are then sorted by this organization. And when they're sorted by this organization, they're then donated around the world. And it's amazing this type of things that this organization has donated over the years, and it's amazing what it's just unbelievable. That to me, you put a little bit of blockchain into that, and now you got a little bit of tracking. And here you have supply chain tracking, whether it's for the big pharma, whether it's for a big corporation, or whether it's for a small charitable organization like that, to where you can track the flow of everything that's happening, or whether you go to a nonprofit organization, non-government organization like the IMF, or organizations that like the Red Cross, when they get donation monies. Okay. So but it's important to track every dollar of donation money and really identify exactly where that money is going. So it's really folly, when you see money that's being donated, and we saw that, I can't remember how a number of years ago, hurricanes down in Haiti, and there was so much money donated to Red Cross and some other organizations, and the money never made it to its intended purpose. And they said there was so much corruption and bleed off and leaching of the monies that never went down there. Now, the other component of that, through the blockchain, through the charitable entities, is being able to move money directly to those organizations. I'd mapped something out one time, about how amazing if you were able to put a digital asset based blockchain solution for donating to the underserved, and this network that you could build out. So you could have monies that are flowing down to help support these organizations, money that would circumvent the government entity, so they can't leech money off, but the money would go directly to the organization on the ground, and you would track every step of it, and then you could see as it's dispersed to the people that are in need, the people that are already been, that in some qualification process, that money can then be dispersed to them. So imagine you go to a country like Haiti, where there's a huge amount of corruption, and typically you send money there and it disappears. You send medical goods there, they disappear. There has to be a very tight process on monitoring. Now, imagine there's entities within Haiti that can definitely benefit. So you have a nonprofit outreach through blockchain, where you're moving money to allow them to develop business, to allow them to build their entity, to allow them to build their product, to allow them to then sell their product and sell their product back to the donating country. Let's say Haiti sells product to the US, but the entire transaction is done with digital asset. And now, again, we talked multiple times about banking the unbanked, but now you have a trackable mechanism in this solution to where you're monitoring the flow of currency and good to Haiti, and you're able to monitor the flow out of Haiti through a purchasing system. It would be unbelievable. And right now there's nothing that will provide you any form of transparency. So when we look at actual real world opportunities out there and what you can do with a nonprofit, it's unbelievable. Take government out of the picture. All government's going to do is screw shit up. It has to be in the hands of the private individuals who are going to do it out of passion, not because the government says you have to do it and then they don't do it anyways. So I think that's important. That's interesting. Let me do something here. Hang on a second. There we go. Boom. All right. Let's see here. Mike Metzner, this information is awesome. Appreciate that. Michael. Really do. Bubba Snipes, blockchain, does that say IOTXs and RFIDs will track the prisoners no matter where they try to hide, escape. It'll be, as long as they don't do it to individuals, and as long as there's a mechanism, once, let's say someone does go into to prison, and they are tracked and monitored when they come out, as long as they're still under that a certain period of time where they need to be track them. As soon as you don't need to anymore, then you remove it. What's up, GXRP? Glad you're on. Glad to see you. Anyhow, let's see here. Regulation. What time is it? 4:50, 7:50. Almost 8 o'clock. All right. So chips are already being used on prisoners. Yeah, now just tie them into the blockchain and then we're all set. Dogs and cats were definitely first. You know, my dog is chipped. Chip, did you chip your dog? Everybody is chipped with their cell phone, that's for sure. All right, let's see. Even wild animals are chipped and they're tagged for sure. That's funny. G20, yeah, the G20 is coming up. It'll be interesting to see the outcome. So with all this great stuff, all this potential, all these possibilities, all the FUD that doesn't really exist, that we can negate, because there are real use cases out here. With all of that, we're definitely seeing some regulation kicking in. We see what's happening. There's been some precedent set in other countries. There was a Supreme Court decision in Israel recently that actually told the largest bank in Israel, which is Bank Leumi, told their bank that they have to deal with the largest digital asset exchange in Israel. The bank wasn't. The bank was blocking transactions. Went all the way to Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court sided with the digital asset exchange. That sets precedent globally, and we're seeing those types of cases all over the world. So James Ryan, what's up from Canada? So let's see here. So as part of this, we also see what Facebook is doing. They're launching their digital coin, their global coin. Kik, a Canadian company, incidentally, James, which is a social media communication, whatever, app. And so Kik, which back in, I want to say late 2017, towards the beginning of 2018, they were selling kin. I know they had an ICO. They launched so now it's interesting because over the past couple months, and I brought this up on a previous stream, that Kik raised a fund. They have $5 million right now to help other companies fight the SEC over the securities process. And in actuality, the SEC is coming after Kik extremely aggressively right now with direct claims that they had that their launching of the ICO was without proper security process, that the proper paperwork wasn't filed to be treated as a security. And this is exactly what we're seeing in these types of cases. We've seen some of the cases already settled out where the SEC it was determined that the entities, the digital asset was not launched with an ICO. Now Kik, being that they've been sticking their finger in the SEC's eye over and over and over again, the SEC is going to come after them even more aggressively. The one thing you don't do in a scenario like this is try to antagonize the beast. They're antagonizing the beast. The beast is now rising up. If they get swiped by one of these big claws, they only have themselves to blame, because one of the statements that has come out from the SEC is come and talk to us, have a rational conversation as you can have with a government entity. However, they still need to operate within certain confines of the law, and they have to operate based on certain set standard, which would be then under the guise of different rules. And so if they have to operate under this, the Howey test, then they're going to apply these organizations and these ICOs and match it up to this Howey test. At least they have to operate under a certain standard, and that is under public scrutiny. Right, yeah, a measly 5 million. That 5 million is probably already, evaporated in the court costs and the attorney costs up to this point. Since the SEC is coming after Kik, their little $5 million war chest is probably down to zero already. as they have to fight this case. Now, they could have just gone and pleaded their case and fought it, at least win, get a victory first before you come out and compile a $5 million war chest. Make sure that you're innocent and your digital asset isn't a security, and at least have a track record of a win before you go to try to help other people. Basically, what Kik has now told everyone is, don't do what we did, because we now are facing extreme scrutiny and we're going to get smacked down. Now, it might still come out. They're going to fight their case. They might come out on the other end, glowing, and their kin digital asset won't be a security. But they already started off on the wrong foot. At least come out with that victory, then do the war chest, then come out and help other people. Right now, I think they're GXRP, they definitely need their $5 million more than any others right now. So so that's a little bit on the regulatory side in terms of what's happening. But there's more than that, because we obviously still see this progression of what's happening with within Congress, within the Token Taxonomy Act. There's still a lot of momentum. There's going to be more coming out from us in terms of getting this video series going. Once we got to get our act together, come up with some ideas, get some of the guys together, gals together, whatever, get the group together, and put something out that is going to be relatively impactful to help push the Token Taxonomy Act through. So now, on a final note here, as we're kind of rounding out this hour, I'm not going for the marathon stream. In Malaysia, now this is another big regulatory case. Yeah, we definitely. Yeah, let's get the band back together. We're getting the band back together, and we'll make it happen. So Malaysia, another big victory where, and obviously regulation across the board are going to really push and not necessarily guarantee mainstream adoption, but it's going to make it easier to allow for mainstream adoption. So countries all over the world, whether it's in Thailand, Malaysia, Japan, we see what's happening in the US, over in Israel, over in parts of Europe, in Germany, pretty much everywhere around the world, Switzerland, we're seeing regulation kicking in. And now at this point, we're starting to see precedent being set. And precedent is so key, with everything that goes on, because other Supreme Courts, other governments are going to look around the world and say, okay, how are digital assets being handled in other parts of the world? And so here's what we see within Malaysia. Let me see if I still have this article pulled up. And let's see if oh, look at this. This was another article I had pulled up. U.S. Securities Watchdog says desperate Kik turned to blockchain tokens. This was on CCN, this article. And this was, I don't even know who this is, Paley. SEC versus Kik. One of the challenges inherent in defending an SEC investigation is that they give the commission the ability to do significant discovery before filing a lawsuit, as this one shows. And he said the same thing. I didn't even read this one. If you poke the bear, better have bear-proof arguments to muster in response. So will Kik open the floodgates? And here's another one. This was Charlie Shrem. What did he say? Trust me from direct experience. If you take on the U.S. government directly, you'll lose. It's very simple. These are all tweets that went out there. And this is all, over what Kik is doing over their Kin coin. So Kin, security or shitcoin. I don't know. I'm not going to read this whole article. I didn't read it. Anyhow, so let's see. All right, here we go. So this was on CCN as well, and this is strict. Oh, what the heck is this thing over here? Come on. Strict Malaysian regulator approves 3 cryptocurrency exchanges. Now, why is this important? They approved 3 of them. 3 cryptocurrency exchanges in an extremely strict environment And so here we go. Let's see. Malaysia Securities Commission has registered 3 cryptocurrency exchanges, allowing them 9 months to achieve compliance with regulatory standards. That's great. Malaysia has been strict with its regulation of cryptocurrency exchanges previously. These 3 are the first and only registered to operate in Malaysia legally. So Malaysia, strict environment, similar to China, similar to India, but they see the writing on the wall, but they're giving them 9 months to operate and 9 months to achieve compliance within set regulatory standard, whatever those regulatory standards might be. We can really dig into them and look at what their strict guidelines would be, but at least they're making that first step forward. Taking that first step forward is everything. And if they weren't able to take that first step forward, then they're going to be in an environment where there's no legal digital asset exchanges in Malaysia. And here we go. Now, the first 3 are approved, and they're going to have this 9 months hiatus. And with that 9-month hiatus, amazing things are going to happen. So that is what I've had to really discuss tonight. I thought it was some really interesting topic. Didn't know what to expect coming on at a 7 p.m. time slot. Thought it would be interesting to see what we've got going on at 7 p.m. Now I know that Rain wants to buy a tour bus, and he wants to go on an XRP tour of the United States. Maybe ship that tour bus overseas and do an XRP tour of the rest of the world, spreading XRP happiness. That's so yeah, definitely. If you guys, I should have said something on your way in. Definitely hit the thumbs up. If there's anybody in still on the stream that hasn't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you want to be notified anytime I go live, hit the notifier bell. That definitely helps. Hit the thumbs up. And a little bit of news with everything going on here. Let's see. Tonight, there's a little bit of a rumor that Rain is going to be on the zoo tonight. I believe that the zoo was pushed back a little bit. Doc Holland put up a link here. Let me see if I can grab that link. Let me open it in a new tab. So, now where was I? Oh, I'm looking at this stream here. Malaysia. There, yeah, that's our Cointelegraph. Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, I had a different article. I was on. I saw it on CCN, and then I went in and I read something on their local news as well that I thought was interesting. Then there's a press release here. So if you go to the press release from June 4th, this is they registered. What is that? What does that say? Luno. I don't know. Malaysia, Synergy Technologies, and Tokenized Technology. So there were 3 of them that were reported. So. All right, so tonight at hang on a second. I'm gonna get to this eventually. I'm trying to wrap this up in the hour that I've got in my head here. So let's see. Auburn, you didn't update. Oh, last night nobody knew. XRP bananas. Mama Duck got all her ducks in a row. Do what Mama Ducks do. Mama Ducks. Yeah, definitely get your ducks in a row when we come in here. So. Bubba Snipes, I'm holding $100 of money to buy as much of one altcoin as I can get. It looks like might be something over the next 2 weeks. Suggestions. What is Casino Coin? I've never heard of it. Little gambling coin. Auburn Rain. All right. You like the early time slot? Man, I like the early time slot. You know what? Early time slot's good. And you know what? Last night, I went on too late. Last night, after I was all fired up from streaming, I couldn't fall asleep till 2 a.m. Try waking up at 5:30 when you fall asleep at 2 a.m. It's not so much fun. And so, but I was definitely fired up, So, let me see here. I'm trying to dig down here. Oh, so I'm kind of losing track of the time and momentum. But anyhow, so Rain is on Auburn Rain on the zoo tonight. Not sure when they're going on live. They were supposed to go on live now at 8 o'clock. But if you know when they're going on, maybe you can post that up there, Rain. That would be awesome. If you have any idea. Let's see. Casino Coin is live on Ripple Ledger. That's pretty sweet. Man, that's awesome. I didn't even hear of that one. everybody check out Casino Coin and report back, and let's figure out what that's all about. That's pretty cool. Crypto Bird Dog is fired up. Everybody's fired up. That's what happens. You get totally fired up, you know, talking, and you see everything that's going on, and then you know, doing those late streams, it's tough. So want to balance it out. I like the late streams too. You know, you get the crowd going too. So anyhow, so Rain, you still don't know what time. And then if you guys want to jump in, DNI is streaming at 9 o'clock. And XRP Minute, if Chip is still on, Chip will be streaming tonight at 10 o'clock. He might be in prep mode still. I tried to drag him into the stream, but Chip might be in prep mode. So definitely let's all, you know, pile in and go check out XRP Minute at 10 o'clock tonight, and that would be awesome. But I want to see the zoo chat, and man, I was all fired up to see it at 8 o'clock. So, getting CSC. There we go, CSC. Huh. Danny Torres said it's on its own ledger that was copied from XRPL. All right, now we're gonna find out more about that. Okay, we gotta dig into that one. Come on now. What was it called? Casino Coin? Oh, there you go, right there. CasinoCoin.org. All right, Casino Coin. Let's make sure we talk about that on Saturday. So Saturday morning, I'm going to be on at 8 a.m. and then that's so we'll talk about Casino Coin. Let's talk about nothing but casinos and Casino Coin. If you guys get down to South Florida, you'll see this huge guitar that's built over at the Hard Rock. We'll have to get a picture of that, post that up behind me. I'll do that. I'll do that tomorrow. I think that'll be a cool background image for Saturday. So anyhow, appreciate everybody for coming on. Appreciate everybody for chatting, participating, joining in. I promise I'll talk about the USC coin a little bit on Saturday. I want to talk about the Casino Coin on Saturday. And I think there's a lot of great things that we can cover. So let's talk about real world utility and all that other great stuff. So anyhow, again, thank you everybody for being on. Another great show, great participation, and make sure we'll see everybody later tonight, and I'll check you guys out 8 a.m. on Saturday. Enough of the stumbling over here. So anyhow, you guys know what to do. Keep on hodling your crypto.